Should have probably done that first. All right. So to kind of familiarize myself with Figma, I started making like Spotify playlist covers, just like see what I can do and like how creative I can get. So like this is kind of like the general interface of Figma. On your left, you have like your different I forgot the exact layers, yeah. So you have the layers, and inside each layer you have like different like compartments, I'd say, like uh how it would be reflected on like the very end of it. So like in this one, for example, I call it flow because that's one of the name of my playlist. I kind of just like played around with like different shapes and stuff to see like how I could get how I could make it come together and like describe that feeling of flow, like when I'm listening to like a certain song in that playlist. And on the right side, this is like the general like properties of like each element inside of the layer. So I can customize it to like have like a linear gradient to it, and like fade out, or like you can change the size here, or you can do it with your mouse too. And the prototyping I'll get into later, but that can be very useful for like more fluid designs or dynamic designs. Same thing for inspect. So like if you're designing a web page, like these two I was showing here, it kind of shows you like the general CSS of it, so you can like just copy and paste that into a website. Personally, I wouldn't really recommend doing that because scaling issues could like make it look a little weird. But like it's a good like just good general layout to like kind of see what it could look like. So I think the first thing I'll get into with this is like masks. Well, actually just like learning tools and stuff. This one's kind of like a work in progress. I've kind of been doing, playing around with like certain effects that make something work, but it hasn't really come out well yet. But so if you like wanna, let me just make a new one. Oh, did you guys make a Figma account yet? If you haven't, I'll probably show you how to do that. So if you go on like the Figma website, all you have to do is like hit get started, sign in, and then it'll let you download. One second. Yeah, it also has like a website, or like you don't have to download the app, but it also has like a web view of it. But if you did want to download it, you could just click get the desktop app and it'll download a application onto your computer where you can access it from there. I kind of prefer the desktop version because like to me it feels like it's using like actual computer resources instead of just like the cloud data and all that. But let's like make our first like design. I was thinking of something like a kind of Spotify mockup thing. I already kind of have one here. Actually, I'll extend it from here actually. So like this is kind of like my Spotify mockup. This is where I kind of played around with like the prototyping a little bit. And before we get into that, I'll kind of show you like how to set this up. So initially what you want to do if you're designing for like a certain product in mind or tool, you should click here, which is what like framing. It's Figma's version of like kind of like the certain dimensions, like pre-made dimensions you can use. Like I kind of made mine, this is like mobile first. I made mine for like a phone. I don't remember which one I used for these ones, but let me see. I guess that seems about right. Hold on. Yeah, that seems right. So I was able to scale that up without actually like dragging it left and right like that by pressing and holding shift and then clicking one of the corners. As you can see, it kind of scales it, like keeps the same aspect ratio as you move it, as you increase or decrease the size. And Figma has a lot of good auto layout options that helps you like keep your work in like very specific constraints, so it doesn't really end up changing much. Let me rename this. If you can to rename things, you can either right click and click rename, or it shows the shortcuts here. I make a point of using shortcuts because it adds to like the efficiency of like how you're doing things. It makes it easy, like just I say generally faster to actually get your work done. I'll make this like the album section of like the Spotify mockup. So let's say like you wanted to use like this, for example, the Running Up the Hill album cover. Let me copy and paste that into this one. So kind of the general goal I kind of want with this is like, I want this like fill up like half the screen like that, and have like another element inside of here. That'll be like for the actual like audio settings. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about with the layers as well. If you put the album on top, it shows up above the actual rectangle that I just made. So I can, so it's easy to actually like keep track of like what you change on each layer. Now I'll make this a little darker to match the color scheme of everything else. Just like that. Oops. Hold up. Yeah, I think that fits pretty well. So the thing with like components, like that's the one of the main things about Figma. So like they focus on reusability. So like I made a couple of these, some of these buttons are kind of custom. I was able to make them myself because like I didn't really find any good ones in the market in the plugins or widgets that they have. I kind of wanted to like get an idea of making your own custom designs and then you reusing that across the whole like design. So it's not showing a lot of the ones I've made. I guess the image isn't loading well. But like with the if you like hover over some of these, you can see like a purple outline compared to just like a bluish or underline here for text and like different parts of the thing I'm selecting. The purple ones mean that these are components. And so these ones, if they're kind of special because if you change like the master component, it changes it across everywhere it's used. I think this is the original one. Let me see. Yeah, if you click go to main component, it takes you to the main one. Also, it's this one. So for example, if I were to change the color of this, let me do that. Oh yeah, it was a square. But like, yeah, so like just doing that, adding the color, you can see it kind of like changed it everywhere else it's used. That's only for the master component. If you were to change this though, like make it larger, for example, it's only going to change it for that area, not anywhere else it's used. Because that's like a copy of like the actual component being used. It's better, it's easier to see on this too. Like the navigation bar. I think I did better work here. So like if I wanted to change my name, the color of my name, like make it a yellow. I don't know if this is the original one that's used. Let me see. No, it's not. But see, that only that one changes. Let me reset that and then go back to the original one. I think this might be it. Yeah. You can tell which one's the original and which one's like the copy of the original based on like the symbol here. So this one shows it's the original and this one's like the copy of it. So if I want to go back to the head, it'll be this one. So if I change this, so now that change is reflected everywhere that component is used. So now my name is yellow everywhere. So that kind of makes the design process a lot easier. So you don't have to keep changing each and every single element there. So going back to here, we're designing like the album section of like an artist page. So let's say, I believe, yeah, this is Running Up the Hill by Kate Bush. If you guys watched the Stranger Things, you might be familiar with the song. So far what I did was like I added the album cover here, and then down here is like the section where I guess all the songs will be listed. So what I was thinking of doing for that, first of all, I'll add another layer onto this. I like to name everything that's inside each layer so it's easier to follow for me. I haven't taken the time to rename some of these because like those are just like the lyrics that's right there. I could rename them to lyrics, but I probably won't know which one is which for this. If you click and drag, you can kind of like get the shape of it. You can also choose between different shapes here to now, so you don't only have to stick with like squares. And like I said, if you hold shift, it keeps the aspect ratio. If you hold option, it scales it based like from the middle of it. On Windows, I don't know the keyboard shortcuts, but I assume those two should be the same. So just like that. And if you hold option and shift, it keeps the aspect ratio and expands it from the middle. That can be very useful if you put it like in the middle of an element here and you want it to only stay in that middle. And that's if you notice the red lines that pop up every time like I come to like an edge, that's like the auto layout like doing its thing to like keep everything inside each container. Another reason you should use frames is because of this clip content. So if you notice, when I drag that, hold on. When I drag this, it kind of like you can see it's like moving, but it's not coming outside of the frame until like my mouse moves out of the frame too. But that's like one good use of like the frames. So it keeps everything inside of the frame as well. I'm gonna turn the opacity down here. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to add like the actual name of the album. I don't know the name. I think it's Hands of Love. So I want to add the text for that. So it's like so you can actually see that clear. Not make the text white here. Oops. Yeah, you have to select the whole text before you can change it. I'll make it look like there's some padding. So there's two ways to change the size of the text. You can, if you highlight the whole thing here, you can change the text size from here. But one cool thing I found out, if you click scale here, you can just drag it out and automatically changes the size, thickness, and everything of the text. So you don't have to like mess around with like the font size, but like the weight of the font or even like the spacing. So it still ends up coming out even looking. And then let me see. All right. Let me make just a component for fun here too. Guys think that looks close to Spotify's? Yeah, maybe a little lighter. So you can also rotate by holding shift down too, and then waiting for this to show up so you can rotate it like that. I think the same thing happens if you do that, but you might accidentally scale it. All right. Yeah, that's another cool thing about the option. So if you highlight like a element inside of the layer, it kind of shows you the relative distance it is between everything else inside of it. So I can like work towards making it stay in the middle. So like if you're working with like multiple things, you can kind of see just how if it's like centered. Like this one isn't really centered, so I can just shift it over. Oops, wait. To make it move like in those minute steps, I'm just using the arrow keys just to adjust it. Guess that's close enough. Looks kind of wonky now, but I'll have to fix that later. And to keep everything organized, I usually just try to put it in like groups. To do that, you just hit Command G or you select the two elements. There it is. And then where is it? Group selection. So then that makes it easier to like just change the size of everything. I guess I could use option. That would have been better. See, just like that. Option is shift, I mean. So now it scales without changing the aspect ratio and stays in like the same relative position. So that's kind of like the idea I wanted for this to look like. And then I guess can just add some like fake text in here. Let me see. Let me see how Spotify does their album art. So they have the name of the song, the artist, and then like they increment downwards. Hmm. I'm just gonna write some fake stuff in here first, real quick. Oh yeah, to make this a component, you just create component here. It's Command Shift K. I don't really use that command much, so I don't know it off the top of my head. Um, but as you use like those shortcuts more, you should end up being more proficient in it. Like I didn't even realize I changed the name of that one by doing that. Maybe that might be a little too small. So you can kind of see it. You can kind of see it coming together now. So it's like it's pretty. It takes some time to get used to as you build it, but as you like make it, it just gets easier and easier with that. So let me group this real quick, and if guys you have any questions, leave a chat too. Right now I'm recording it to my laptop, but I'm after it's done, I'll upload it to the Discord. And I think we have a YouTube channel as well, so I'll try to get it uploaded there. I'm just copying this a couple times. So a neat thing about like the auto layout, let me select these. You can kind of adjust the like how far away the gap is between each other. It's like you can make it bigger or smaller just like that without moving each one individually. It's like if you want this to be closer together like that, it can be as close as you want. Just like that. I could add more information, but I'll show a little bit of the prototyping. So what that is it kind of makes your designs a little bit more dynamic. So like when I click prototype here, you can see these arrows pop up. These are kind of triggers to show like where it's going to go. So for like this one, the arrow's pointing here. So if like you do an action to this, it'll cause it to move to like this page. Likewise, if you do make an action here, it'll move to here, and the same thing with here. So let me start that real quick. So like this is the first page you see when you start the prototype. So if you were to click this, it kind of, do you see how it like moves into this screen? And same thing here. I think if you drag down, it brings you back. The same thing like that. Because it makes it come to life kind of. Same thing with the lyrics too. It adds transitions. Some of these are what they call a smart animation. So you don't have to like apply each animation together. Just click on the album art again and it brings you back. And did you notice like when I click on this, it kind of highlights the accessible areas. This one's meant to be swiped up and this one's meant to be swiped down. I think I made it so you can also click on this too. Yeah, that's like what the different elements do. So to kind of do that, let me click on one of them to show you. So like I had an arrow dragged here and it kind of shows like the basic animation for it. So yeah, on drag and there's another one. I think it was on click. It's supposed to do an animation where it looks like it drags down just like that. And smart animations on, so any persistent elements on here will kind of stay in like the same relative position. Like this pause button, it'll kind of move to the side here. Let me see if I can come shift that again. I didn't scale it right. That's what looks so big here. But if I made it like the actual size of an iPhone screen, I think I'd be able to show that. Yeah, I forgot which one it is. But yeah, it's like, oh no, it didn't actually do that. Huh. Well, it's supposed to, like for this one. You can kind of see how the image, the album art shrinks and then moves to like the top left corner. Same with the name and the album, the song name, it moves to the top here. So if I wanted to, for example, like link to this, what I do is, hold on. It's been a minute since I worked on this one. Oh, okay, I realized it. Let me just make a random one here. So like you just drag an arrow, it shows an arrow and you kind of just drag it to like where you want it to go. It's like if, for example, I click on this, let me actually make it, yeah. So on click, if this is clicked, it'll transition to like this part of the flow, is what I'm gonna call it. So it kind of makes it comprehensive. On click, navigate to album. So it's gonna navigate to a different frame in the project, and then you can add like a new an animation to it. It's like if I want this to, how would I want this to happen? I'm sure what push does. No, no, not push. Okay, we can work with that. I'll make it happen per, yeah, no, I think that'll be fine. 300. So let's see how that works. So when this is clicked, just like that. Now I didn't make a way to actually go back so afterwards, but I could probably add that. So like if I wanted to go back, let me see. Maybe just like a swipe down. Let me add that real quick. Yeah, so on drag and that gets to the home page. Then I'll do like a, yeah, so move out of the way. This time it's gonna drag out. just like that. So since I don't really have any matching layers between the two of these, I won't enable smart animate, but let's see how that works now. So when this like whole area is dragged down, it'll bring us back to here. Let's see how that works. Just like that, and then boom, perfect. So it can be very fun and intuitive, especially like when you're making a whole website. Like if you're working on a team, for example, it's easy to like to kind of show like how you want it to look like and how you want it to perform. So like when you actually go to implement it, you have a better idea of like what to do. And it actually comes out pretty smoothly too, depending on like how it's implemented. So let me see. Um, so that's kind of like the general stuff about Figma, like prototyping. We did a little bit of design. Um, what did I say? Auto layout, that's like your best friend. It really helps like organize everything in a nice, like concise way and like helps you make it look pretty professional as well. So like when you're like doing the designs, and it's very helpful like when you actually like want to build like a website too, because like this one, for example, the project page on my website, I kind of added a note for myself that I want to add like a link to the different projects I have in Figma. Um, but yeah, it can be really easy to understand like, and well, it makes it easy to like kind of storyboard how you want it to look like. So like this is another project I'm kind of working on right now. I'm running into a lot of blockers, but um, like I said, it's like it takes some time. So like for me, the way I was able to like just really learn Figma was like just making a bunch of uh playlist covers, like for my Spotify songs and all that, or album arts, and then just playing around with different like elements, like see how I could like get it working. So like for this one, I added like a blur effect. I think it was, let me see. So this one's actually like blurred, while this one, I think it has a layer blur on it. No, okay, those are blurred too, yeah. You can also like configure each layer to see like what's inside each of them too. So you can like work on a layer by layer basis to see how they all interact with each other. And I guess the last thing I'll go over, if anyone doesn't have any questions, is masks. Masks can be very like beneficial when you're making projects too. Like, do you see how I have like two images like on top of each other, and then like this kind of gradient effect going in and out? This one was a little hard to figure out, but just after playing around with it for a while, I was able to like get it working. Like if you like turn this off, you can kind of see that there's still another image here. But so what this is like the mask. I had to like draw the general shape of how I wanted it to look like. So if I had disabled that, you can see like the second picture that I have here. So like I was talking about how everything's organized in layers, like this is the bottom one, but because the mask is off and this one's over, like on top of this image, you can't really see anything below it. So this mask kind of adds like, I call it like a picture frame effect to it. So it kind of blocks off the rest of this and this, and to show off the whole thing in its entirety. And if you guys don't really understand anything about Figma, the documentation is actually well made. So you can like always go in here and like search for whatever questions you have, or the YouTube page as well. I've had a lot of good successes just learning from their YouTube channel and like understanding how certain elements work for each other. This video is fun to watch too, just to see how like just what you can do with like all the effects. I think that video I used to make like one of these playlist covers. I don't remember which one because it was such a long time ago. But yeah, I say that's like my general workshop for Figma. Did you guys have any questions or want me to explain something a little bit better? Someone saying something? All right. Well, I guess this concludes my workshop. If no one has any questions, thank you all for coming. And I'll get this uploaded to Discord and the YouTube channel ASAP.
Thanks, okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm gonna try to use this for the portfolio
For sure. That's
prototype.
actually, yeah, that's actually the goal. Yeah, I kind of forgot to mention that. So yeah, I'm gonna be starting another portfolio project next week, Tuesday. So you guys can kind of use this to get a general idea of like how you want yours to look like. Then on Tuesday when we start, you already have like a design that you want to implement.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, sorry, but I kind of joined late, but I don't know if you mentioned this. So, is this something that is available for free or there is cost to it?
This is actually free, yeah.
Okay.
They do have a payment plan, but yeah, when
Uh-huh.
if you're just working by yourself, it's completely free. You can also collaborate with other
Okay.
people too. And there's a lot of like different tools that they have available with like
Uh-huh.
the things that actually cost money. I say for your use, it doesn't really warrant buying it, but it's up to you. If you can still like you do everything here for free. So there's no point in buying it.
Okay. Okay, I see. Yeah, because I did join late, so I was like, I don't know if you mentioned this. Because I feel like I'm kind of interested in it by what you
Yeah.
just showed it. And it was something interesting for me. So
Yeah, it's a
that's
lot
why.
of fun. If you ever do want to get started, just like have a mini project you want to do, so like you can always be engaged as you do it. Like I mentioned
Mhm.
before, like the Spotify playlist covers. These ones I made is just because I kind of got lazy with my designs. But like these first like 8 or 12, I kind of made it in a way to like reflect the mood of each playlist I have, and then kind of like play around with the different tools Figma has, so like I could just like see just like what I could do with it, like the limit of my creativity.
Okay. Um, but just the last one question.
Yeah,
So I kind of was here for the warrior rewards. I don't know if I have to sign up or scan the QR code or something, or do you already get my name?
I think did you do it through the get involved? Did
Yes,
you? Okay, so
So who's talking?
Isha.
Isha? Yeah, so I put that on there a while ago, but I'm not sure. When we talked to Brandon from Doso, I don't know if the virtual is gonna count, but I'm gonna put it down anyway. I would reach out to them too, because they did count it last year, but I don't know if they're counting it this year. So that's my bad. I was just told this like a week ago, but I'm still gonna put you down, and get involved. But I would reach out to them because it let us do it. So I don't want to screw up.
Yeah, because when I signed up for it, it does say that it is count toward the warrior rewards, but I'm not sure. So do I still need to contact? And if so, can you give me the email address or something?
I believe it's dose. Let me check. Try get involved at wayne.edu. But so this was supposed to be in person, but okay got COVID, so that's why it switched to online. So I hope they still honor it.
I think they do it because on the get involved it says, but I'm not sure.
Okay, that works for me. But I'll put your name down though.
Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I don't want you to be behind. I want you to get that sweater.
I'm gonna try for that.
It's nice. I know I want it.
Right. So sorry, but I just want to make sure. Do I still need to reach out, or you say it's okay?
Okay.
what was that?
I just asked, do I still need to reach out to them, or I'm okay now?
I would just double check just so I don't know. I feel like you'll be fine, but I just don't want to, I don't want them to not count it and then you don't get your thing. So I guess just double check. Just but it should be get involved at wayne.edu.
Sorry, I just had a quick question.
Yeah.
I saw it very briefly when I joined in, but does this actually generate like CSS code?
Yes, it does actually.
Okay.
So like if I were to go here, let me scroll in. So like if you go into inspect, I have this image selected, you can see the CSS code here. Personally, I don't really use it because I don't know how accurate it is, especially like for scaling like different websites. But it is good to like see a general idea of like the different elements that's used. It's not
Right,
really
but
what I noticed. Yeah. What were you saying?
but like if we're planning it for the portfolio, for like using it to plan out how it's gonna look, like,
Yeah.
is that like a good idea to use their own generated CSS code, or should we like
Well,
do it ourselves?
I'm going to use for the portfolio, I'm going to be using a framework of CSS called Tailwind. I personally prefer it because it's a little easier to like build stuff with like Tailwind CSS as opposed to just using normal CSS. But I was going to get more into that on Tuesday. But can kind of see.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Did anyone else have any questions? Oh yeah, like what Kelly said in the chat. It's really good for like figuring out the distance between them, the two elements. Thank you. We'll see how COVID goes for me. But thank you guys for showing up to the meeting, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. See ya.